What do we have here?
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna kill me, Mr. J?
What? Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
That was a clip from Suicide Squad, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by one of its stars, Mr. Jared Leto. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Very well, thank you very much. Can I start, this might seem weird, but by asking you to describe the film to me?
It might be a weird question considering I haven't seen it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is even better then. Can you describe what you think the film is about from being in it and reading the script then, or if you read them?
This is what I assume it's about. A group of villains that are called to arms, that are called into action by the government to do something that is probably a bit suicidal, but may gain them some retribution and maybe slightly easier sentences or shorter sentences. And then there's the Joker. So, which I don't really know how the Joker fits into the film, but at least when I read the script, the Joker was kind of a parallel story. And my character, the Joker, was out to rescue Harley and get Harley back from the Suicide Squad.
Well, this is because for me, this is the heart of the film. It's what makes, I think, the audience really engage with the kind of irredeemable supervillains, is that you're this character and this relationship between the Joker and Harley Quinn. It's real. There's real heart to it. There's real connection. There's real emotion. I want to ask about the chemistry between you and Margot, because it's quite unique, I think. Was that instant?
It's pretty easy to have chemistry with Margot Robbie, I have to admit. And she was really great. She was so nice. She was so patient, which you have to be when the Joker is around. She was wonderful. She's a great actress, and I really liked working with her a lot. A perfect partner in crime. Because
you approached this role with a method, in being Mr. J and being this character. But did you have an opportunity, or did you talk to her prior to this, or was it a case of you were this character when you started on this production and with her, when you two started?
I really just played the game, and the game was to set up a dynamic between the Joker and the rest of the squad that would be kind of close and appropriate to the circumstances of the story. And it was really fun. It wasn't something that was kind of too serious, or I think everybody really enjoyed the game that was being played. We really had a magical time. I think the scenes that we did on the day, and I understand there's quite a bit that's been cut out, but the scenes that we did on the day were some of my favorite work that I've ever done with anyone in a film.
He's a character who's been around for 75 years, and there are so many reference points for you in terms of how you interpret him and how you make him your own, and create your own Joker. Did you spend a lot of time, looking way back to how and where he started, and what formed the basis of your Joker?
I started digging in and reading everything that I could, and at a certain point I realized I needed to stop because there was too much material and I was getting buried in it. And also, I think because there were so many interpretations, reimaginings of the Joker, I did feel at a certain point a sense of freedom, of liberty to walk down an entirely new path. So that's what we did.
And how early were you on board with this, in terms of, with chatting to David about it? And
I think I may have been one of the last people cast in the film. But we had a significant amount of time to panic, and which you do when you get asked to play the Joker. You have this tremendous amount of pressure, but also excitement. I think because there had been such phenomenal performances such beautiful work done by these incredible actors like Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, his voice work, other voice actors, so many people, Cesar Romero from the original television series. Everyone has created such an iconic character that there was a great deal of pressure to really to do our best.
I love the sound of him. I think he's, whether it's the kind of the breathing or the kind of the weird, undescribable sounds that sort of he's able to kind of create. It's kind of a weird feed and comfort in the same thing, I think, that comes out of him. Yeah. What was the first thing that you created of him?
It's interesting because behavior is such a big one for him, and sometimes he's a panther, other times he's a hyena, a snake, or just a pig. But he's very animalistic in a way, very guttural, but also highly intelligent. His voice, I think, is really key, and that's something that I worked on a lot. He has a much bigger range in his voice. He doesn't sound so monotonous and boring like I do. He has a lot of color, as he should. I think the Joker is the perfect villain because he's the antithesis of Batman, who's this stoic black and white character, both visually and in so many other ways, morally. He's someone who strives for perfection and control, filled with restraint, and the Joker is complete and total insanity, technicolor madness, and I think that's why he's so much fun to play.
I think that's why people love him, and they want reincarnations, and they want new, interpretations of him.
Yeah, I'm not the first, and I certainly won't be the last. Am I whispering too much?
I quite
what
like
happens when people do
making everybody really soothing and
radios. They all get like radio voice. I guess it's because I just woke up.
Okay, you sound great. It's fine. I wanted to talk about get a little bit into if you wouldn't mind talking about the method process and how that the reality of that works on a set with a director, because I imagine you have to have the relationship with the director where you can go, this is how I do it, this is how I want to do it, because if he's not on board, then it's going to make it difficult for both of you.
And I think a lot more difficult for him probably. Especially if you're dealing with a Joker. But David was really interested in whatever was going to get the best performance, and I think most directors are kind of fall in line with that. And everyone has their own process, whether it's preparing for an interview, the research you do on Google or at the library. Some people use music while they're painting, if they're artists, and or maybe they use meditation to get somewhere they need to go. And so I think everybody has a process, and I have mine. And what I did with the Joker was just really stay as focused and committed as possible. It was really important. I felt a responsibility to the other performances, to the fans of the DC universe, to the other actors, and all the people involved with this film. I felt a responsibility to do my absolute best. So what I did and what I've done before is I just try to shut as many distractions out as possible and just stay focused and committed. I don't really walk around thinking, oh, I'm the Joker. I don't, for me, it's more, it's a practice. It's a game. It's psychology. It's exploring circumstances and relationships and creating dynamics.
How does he direct you though when you're in that, you're in that zone? Is it, or does he not?
It's I think he comes away with some bleeding, I should say. But I think that I brought so much to the table in every scene. It was probably more about filtering all of the insanity, because I wanted to give a lot of options, and I think there's probably enough footage in this film for a Joker movie. If I were to die tomorrow, maybe the studio would roll something out, a rated R or rated X performance in there somewhere.
I want to see a spin-off Joker and Harlequin movie. like
That
the
would be
DC
fun.
sort of, rom-com
Yeah,
between the two of them.
that would be sick and twisted fun. I mean, I always wish this film was rated R, and I had actually said that when we were starting. It felt like, if a film was ever going to be rated R, it should be the one about the villains.
We've had an amazing amount of questions come in from
Oh,
your
really?
fans and from DC fans as well.
Oh.
If you wouldn't mind me asking a couple of those.
Sure.
Carl says, if you were to return as the Joker, is there another DC villain that you would like to team up with?
That's a great question, Carl. I think that the most compelling character to team up with would be Batman. I know he's not a villain, but it just would be so much fun.
Isn't he though? Isn't he?
To some, and in some versions, I think he has been kind of a villain. But I think that the thing about this film is, for a lot of people, the Joker is exciting when he's pulling the strings. And in this film, it's more of an introduction to the Joker. And as the film stands now, I think it's much more of a supporting part than a lot of people may have assumed. But it feels like there could be more to come.
That makes me assume there is going to be more to come.
I think it entirely depends upon the response of the public. If they respond to this Joker, I could imagine the Joker coming back. But if they don't, I certainly wouldn't want to overstay my welcome.
Phil says, what, if anything, did you learn about yourself whilst portraying the character?
I think I relearned that old cliche that it's really important to prepare. The more you prepare, the more fun things are, number one, the less stressful things are. And I think the greater sense of ease you have with your work, the more freedom you have, the more likely you are to take chances. So I relearned that old lesson about preparation.
2 more questions. Stuart says, I suggest watching Requiem for a Dream with any girl I meet after 2 or 3 dates as a barometer of how well we're matched. I'm currently single. Thank you for that. I love that question. It's not even a question.
I was going to say, you haven't much
Whoa,
time for that.
yeah. Question from Edith Bowman. Your other job as a musician, 30 Seconds to Mars. When's the new album coming out?
The new album will probably be out. It'll probably be out.
Probably
be out. Yeah, probably. God, I'm so slow. Every
great.
album I say to myself, you know what, I'm going to put out an album a year or album every 2 years. I've said that for 15 years. And I can never do it. It's always 4 years or something.
Well, you're off winning Oscars and stuff, you got distractions.
But I've made 2 movies in 9 years. So I don't know if that's a very good excuse. I think the amount of work we whittled it down was like 40 or 50 days of acting work on set I've done in 9 years. So that's not a good excuse for me. I'm just slow. So I think it'll be out in 2017. We haven't really announced that yet. So
wow,
you heard it here first. But maybe the beginning of 2017 would be good. I think the sooner, if I have my way, the sooner the better. We'd like to get back on tour. It feels like we haven't played in the UK forever, and I hope people still remember us.
I think you'll be all right.
It's been so long since we've been to all these places around the UK. Manchester, Liverpool, London.
Glasgow. Don't forget the Scots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm excited about that, and congratulations. And I just want to see more of him. I want to see more of the Joker.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Fingers crossed.
Me too. I kind of fell in love with that freak.
Jared, thank you.
He's not that bad a guy, right?
Do you know what? I think when we scratch the surface and we kind
Yeah.
of dig deep and we kind of, we get to know the real Mr.
Underneath
J.
all the murder and torture, he's really just a sweetheart.
Jared, pleasure as always. Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Thank you.